believe we are live. So I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me once again on another conscious evolution. Today's stream topic is going to be the consideration of feelings, specifically feelings as they relate to actions, right? The roughest example I can give to kind of like bring into our minds this energy that I'm thinking about is when you're in bed in the morning, right? There is a there is a certain feeling that comes along with that energy. And there seems to be this discrepancy slash uh, unbalancedness between what we can do and what we want to do, right? Where conceptually, it's not necessarily that difficult to get up from your bed, right? If you're able bodied. Can't speak for everybody, of course. But if you're able bodied, you know that it is possible for you to get up out of bed. But that feeling, right? That feeling of, I don't want to get out of bed, that can stop you from getting out of bed. And I'm trying to think of that, as a dynamic that we're supposed to be learning how to utilize a little bit better. One, the way I was like trying to articulate to myself as like a liner, like a quote you can kind of like try to think about is the difference between how much you want to do and how much you can do. No, I'm butchering it. Uh, how much you can do is related to how much you want to do. But how much you want to do, trying to freaking formulate it in my own mind as well. Essentially, right? That the capacity for you to do the things you want to do is not proportional to how much you want to do it. In other case, you can technically do 40 push-ups today, right? Physically, it might be possible for you to do that. But whether you want to or not is going to be the real limiting factor, not so much the ability to do it or not. And it was this dream space kind of like idea that I'm trying to share with you friends. That's why I feel like it's messing with me a little bit, because I was in this in-between space, right, where I knew I was supposed to get up, but I also wanted to sleep more. And then every single time I would snooze my alarm and sleep a little bit more, it would come with this lesson, this context, this information about the ability to do things because I feel like it, right? And I could feel in that dream space a certain level of feeling that would make me more powerful than I actually am, right? So we were still talking kind of like in the realm of the reasonable, but is it possible for us to do things that we can't even imagine, right? Like you couldn't even, if you wanted to, feel hard enough to do the things that you're actually capable of doing. And because you've never felt that way, you've never tried, right? So I got to share all of the little spaghetti that's happening in my mind. Thank you, dear Shan, beloved, Nancy, Cable as well, Duck Dad. I see Sam. I see Joy Vive. I think I have said hi to Nancy. Blessings. So many blessings to you, dear friends. Let me read your comments. We have Dr. saying, good morning, beautiful goose sacks filled with awesomeness and potential. Yeah, that potential. Specifically the potential, right? And I'm trying to, and at least in my fractal right now, get myself past feeling so that I can do things for the sake of doing them, right? But I don't know if that's right. That's what I'm trying to do, but I don't know if it's the correct approach necessarily. Keep the doggos in frame, having the time of their lives. Peppy and Yudi doing a play. Natalie, no, Nancy. Blessings anyway. Dog mouth Nancy. It's good to be here again. It's always nice to have you, Cable. How have you been, dude? What's been going through your mind? Have you been resonating with this thing I'm talking about? Right? I feel like especially so in poetry, there probably is that, at least in me, that version of us that maybe wants to do poetry, right? But there's a version of us that doesn't feel the poetry in that specific moment. And even though you've done poetry before, 100, 1,000 times before. You know you can. It still doesn't make it any easier to in that moment if you don't feel like it. Right? And what is that feeling? What is that feeling? It's just feeling bad, right? Like when you feel bad, you don't want to do anything, right? Like it's hard to even take care of yourself when you're in that state of mind. Doing it anyway, right? How do I give myself the feeling of, or maybe I convince myself that I'll have a feeling if I do the thing without feeling, right? Maybe that's maybe that's the way I can bamboozle myself. Melt has melted, bro. I really do feel like I got mildly wrecked a little bit, right? But in a good way. I feel like I got chopped down and now I'm resprouting, right? Like I cut some dead limbs off of myself, kind of vibe. And it's been very interesting adjusting this way. I feel calm though. I feel like that's the thing that's really been resonating with me is that I feel so content, so calm, so unencumbered by the things that I usually used to mess myself up with. I feel like I've, at least for now, accepted that things will take time. Yesterday's stream topic was in part, me trying to share this state of mind that I feel I'm trying to occupy right now. This understanding that the path that we're on, Gavel, is a hard one, right? Let me read you the poem for yesterday. It's not my best. I feel like it could be better. I feel like I maybe overdid it a little bit, but the poem is called The Path Least Worn. And it goes, on the road to what we seek, a thought takes hold. Ease can deceive as the story unfolds. Yet consider this as the truth unfurls. Being ourselves is the path of the melters. Right? Already convoluted. The fuck? What are you saying, Melt? It might seem easier, the well trodden way, following norms where others sway, expectations of families, society's decree. But true freedom waits where courage sets us free. To pursue the path less worn indeed is tough, but authenticity shines more than enough. Challenges may test as we break from the norm. In daring to be ourselves, we find our true form. So let's embrace the challenge raised, for in the struggle our spirits praise the path of authenticity, where we find our part in the courage to be ourselves, we truly start. And in this journey, let's not forget the world's betterment, our shared mindset. The hard path is the one where change takes flight, creating a better world in the face of the night. So let's walk this path hand in hand. For the good of all, let's take a stand. In being ourselves, we find the key to a brighter world where all can be free. Right? How can I be myself? What does that even mean? Right? How can I how can I take the path that I know is going to be difficult and take pride in it even? The least worn path, right? Realizing that each and every single one of us are on our least worn path because nobody ever has been you the way you are yourself right now. Right? That is the truth. That is your true form. And that true form of yours is complex, right? That you might feel a certain way right now. And that feeling right now will lead you to be a certain way, will lead you to do certain things. And that is going to be your path. It is, it's very, it's very unworn, but it really is yours, right? Authentically yours more than anything ever was, anything ever could be. Love again to Javiv and Sam, of course. Melt is melted. Sam, I've been doing so much cool art today. I had my first teaching class as a freelancer. Woo! Are you teaching people how to do poetry, writing? Are you painting with them? Give us context, dude. If you know anyone who wants to gift the IELTS, melts, let me know. Creative writing. Ah, that's nice actually. That's awesome, Brian. Thank you, Shan, for celebrating Cable's progress as well. I want to transfer a lot of knowledge using the online space. I've been making a lot of art, but I think the field of information giving is even more beneficial. Yeah, micro education businesses is probably going to be pretty popular in the future, Brother Cable. So 100%, dude. Try and form some sort of structure as to how it is you do things, right? You take it from a perspective of problem solving, right? Like, oh, I had the problem of not knowing what to write about or not knowing how to start, and then I applied these techniques, and then by applying these techniques, I gained this little bit of momentum, and then using this momentum, I made my work of art, my piece of creative writing, and then you package that, and then you can give it to people digitally. You can extend your consciousness to other human beings. Bro, I love the bed, but my sleep schedule is fucked. I need to be better in that. Me too. Oh, my sleep schedule is screaming right now. It's like I don't know if some of your friends have seen that video of a bunch of, I think it's like an adult. It might be the dad or like the older brother, and this kid, and they're like water gunning each other. And then you see the kid like run out of water ammunition or something, and he's like hiding behind a fold-up table or something. And then you just see this slow-mo video of the dude coming around that corner, and the kid goes like, "Ah!" Like the sheer terror of getting sprayed with water. That is exactly my sleep schedule right now. That's my sleep. And even if I want to, right? I feel like that's the thing as well. Like a part of me feels like it wants to sleep earlier. And conceptually, sleeping earlier isn't that difficult. And yet still, I find it hard for me to get there. Hey, John is here too. Sending him blessings. But whatever I do, I find the time to sleep. I sleep well. It's just I have too many fun things to do, bro. Like not only that, right? I feel like I had this conversation with Christian and Johan this weekend, talking about how potentially this waking world might be the vacation, right? That we come here to chillax. That this is the calm part of reality. And then when we go into our dream space, that's when the real work actually starts to be done. And I've been really resonating with that because my dreams have been exceptionally information loaded, overloaded, right? So I feel like that's also pushing me away from sleep because I know I'm gonna get my ass handed to me metaphorically, conceptually, informationally, confusingly. However, I'm gonna get myself rolled. And then I come back into this world and I'm like, yeah, this is nice and calm, dude. My reality isn't melting in front of me actively. So yeah, I celebrate you doing fun things, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, not doing and not feeling it. That's different. Hollow actions can be harmful, but then discipline is also something that grows in adversity. Exactly, dude. I feel like it is a balance that I'm trying to find within myself as well, right? Where I I feel like the things I'm doing right now is aligned with right action, essentially, right? And it's almost like it took me some time to really consolidate slash accept that reality. And now that I have, it's almost like a calm has come over me that allows me a little bit more freedom. I guess that's the fractal. Freedom to do what I want to do. Maybe my masculine is being a little bit more spicy as of late or something. Poem time. Robert Frost vibes. Very direct. I like your poem. Thank you, Joy. Bless you. So utopian. Bro, all of my poems are utopian. Unironically, I think literally every single one of my poems are utopian in one way or another. I think you'll like this one, Kevo. This one is called Mutants of Change. I should show you the flower first. This flower isn't the best, me being critical of my flowers. That green on the inside, this one is Joy V's pants, and this yellow is Joy V's scarf, the bug one. I want to show you this one first. I feel like you might like this one, Gavel. And then I'll read you Mutants of Change. What you saying, Barbie Barbie? What you saying? You- yeah? Okay. I'll read you my poem. Be patient. Mutants of Change. In the chrysalis of time we bloom. A I'm butchering it already. In the chrysalis of time we bloom, a dance of change we assume, from innocence of youth's embrace to the world as an unknown place. Mutants of life we transform, shedding old skins, always reborn. Children's laughter turned to wisdom's grace, as the world's mysteries we continue to face. Teenage dreams and fiery hearts, aspirations where every story starts, through the journey of growing, mutating, evolving, unknowingly flowing. Young adulthood brings its stride. In the river of change, for our sanity we fight, blossoming into who we're meant to be, mutating still, wanting to be free. Adulthood's robe we don with pride, yet change remains our trusted guide. Evolving minds, hearts that melt. In this tapestry of time, we are held. A species mutating, onward we grow, an evolutionary process we cannot yet know. From children to adults, a journey scope. Mutants of change, we embrace hope. Yeah, yeah, utopia. Let's go, utopia. Signal in the noise, each heartbeat's add. Love melts hate, magical thinking, collective intelligence, time melter, asleep in the waking world. I want to read this one too. Yeah. Asleep in the waking world. And the first line again. Asleep in the waking world. We dream of a better place. Running in circles, we keep raising the stakes. We close our eyes and drift away to a world of no fear. We can fly and soar, exploring more, forgetting our troubles here. But we can't live in fantasy. We have to face the truth someday. You have a purpose and a mission, and you can't just throw it away. We wake up and face the day. With a smile and a hopeful heart, we try to make a difference, choose to play our part. We can't ignore the challenges. We have to overcome the odds. As we deal with our problems, we take the load of God. Balance between the two, the dream world and the true. We need to find our inspiration, generate self-motivation. Asleep in the waking world, we escape from all our pain, but we can't stay there forever because we'll drive ourselves insane. Poetry. Yeah. Yeah. How about that? I feel like I'm, in part, maybe asleep in the waking world right now. Am I sleeping? No, no, no. I might be I might be dreaming, but I'm not sleeping, right? Some fine lines. Okay, let me get back to chat. Thank you, Kevo. You always inspire me to read you some poetry, bro. My form has too much fat on it right now. Right now, right? There should be like a massive asterisk on that right now. Because surely progress has been made already, Joy. And I'm proud of you for being willing to head in the conceptually right direction, to go on the hard path, right? Getting fat is pretty easy. I feel like that's the thing that pisses me off so much, is how easy it is to get fat in comparison to how hard it is to get unfat, right? Like I feel like I wish it was 50-50, right? I wish it was just as difficult for me to get fat as it is for me to get thin or whatever. But yeah, that is the hard path, Joy, and I'm proud of you for being willing to put yourself on it, knowing that it is going to be difficult. Do you want my feedback as a poet or as a spirit friend? I like it, by the way. I do not want any feedback. I want to live in a world of make believe where my poetry is perfect. No, of course, I'm joking, bro. You can give me as much feedback as you want to, bro. I'm always willing to learn. Like I'm definitely no professional poet. You know, I'm still trying to get good at it as well. I think of it more like poetry for me these days isn't so much like I'm going to write the best poetry, but it is trying to capture an idea in a piece, right? Like that's what I'm trying to do in these streams as well. Is like I'm trying to convey to you some sort of understanding, right? And that's why we call this stream conscious evolution, is because as we expose ourselves to these ideas, to these ways of seeing the world, to these considerations, today's being feeling versus doing, right? That you can do the things, you can wash the dishes, you can self hygiene, you can do your hobbies, you can play games, etc., etc., etc. But then that's that feeling, right? I don't feel like washing the dishes right now. I don't feel like taking a shower right now. I don't feel like working on my hobby and trying to overcome, right, that feeling, that specifically that feeling. Because unironically, if you can overcome that feeling more times than not, you get better feelings as a replacement, right? Because that's where I'm stuck right now. Is the feeling of not wanting to do things. It feels bad, right? It's not a good feeling. Like I don't feel like stoked, like, oh, I feel so great. Now I don't want to wash the dishes. Maybe that happens sometimes, right? Like I'm having too much of a good time to wash the dishes right now. But that feeling of like, I don't wanna, right? That doesn't feel good. And then if you actually do, if you actually push yourself just a little bit and you go past that feeling, you get to be in the good feelings again. So we'll see how today's poem turns out to try and capture that fractal. And weirdly enough, these streams, I end up taking the things that you friends say to me, right? Like the magical thinking poem. Let me actually read that one as well. That one, I was talking about like the steam, seeing the steam in the air, and the way my mind was like, this is magical. And then Joy Vive was like, no, Melt. Magical thinking would be thinking the steam is fairy dust. And I was like, oh yeah, Joy Vive. I'll use fairy dust in my poem. It goes like this: magical thinking. I watch the steam rise from the shower like a ghost escaping from its slumber. It dances in the air with grace and flair, twisting and turning without a care. I know the science behind this sight, the water molecules in their flight, but I prefer to see it as a spell, a magic that only I can tell. The steam catches the light and glows like a fairy dust that flows. It creates shapes and patterns in my mind, a secret language only I can find. I marvel at this wonder of nature, this simple yet complex creature. It fills me with awe and delight, the magic of steam in the light. Poetry. So yeah, like that's the point for poetry for me, right? And I don't know if that's how you're supposed to use poetry, but that's the way that I gravitate, at least in my personal journey towards it. Generally good. Yesterday bad. The poem generally good. You didn't like yesterday's. Yesterday's was a little bit jaggedy, but I was like trying to get the fractal out. I was already sleep deprived at that point as well. I had lunch with your friend, right? That's not bad. That's balance, I think. I think so as well. I'm missing some context. Maybe yesterday. We're werewolves now. We're werewolves. Loizana joining us too. Blessings to you, dear friend. I would go to sleep as early as possible if it wasn't for my demon spawn. Yeah, I feel as soon as you become a parent, you just instantly have like a debuff, like a -10 sleep debuff on you for like 18 years or whatever. It's like, yeah, you were perpetually tired now. Congratulations, you are a parent. Dude, so it's our turn to keep me up, Melty. I also struggled so much to sleep the past 3 days. It seems there is some mind stuff happening, dude. Whatever is keeping us from sleeping, surely it's important. Namaste, my most amazing, beautiful, gorgeous, sexy, intelligent, inspiring, loving, spiritual friends. This little Melt family, whom I adore, each one of you, as we adore you. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing your presence with us as well. In Shazam, in Snoop Dogg voice. Melt, we're literally on the same path, but reversed. I just days ago had a nightmare. I stopped by just walking away in dream so potently that I woke up in real life. It was a lovely, beautiful nightmare, but the respect I had for the dream me in just walking away was immense. Like, I'm trying to think if the dream me can walk away, right? Like, unfortunately, the way that I've been dreaming is like Taurus field vibes, right? Where everything I experience happens as a psychic extension of myself, right? And it's me trying to teach myself lessons. So it's like even if I walk away, it follows me kind of vibe. I don't know if that's more nightmare fuel, but yeah, basically sunflower, joy, pants, pants. That's all. That's the India flag. Love is true. Cable, most talented poet and martial artist. Management, thank you, friend. Love is true. I was going to bring up the book, The Chrysalid, that they, that day, that they, but then I got shy and didn't. And then you had the word chrysalis in the first word of your poem. Fractals being shared without you even sharing fractals. How about that? Beautiful poem, Mel. Thank you, Lisa. That day, yeah, there we go. That day we were talking about mutants. So much, yes. I like this one too. I perhaps resonated to change one a lot as a young adult. Part of the spear. Yeah. We're like in the part of the spear that is now fighting for our sanity, dude. Right? And like it's that poem goes like we don adulthood with pride. Right? Like that's the part that I'm kind of like tripping out about a little bit. It's like I feel like I got a grasp of my sanity at this point at least, right? I feel pretty stable, but I don't feel like an adult, right? And I feel like that's maybe where some of the some of the concern was coming from. And again, you know, thinking about yesterday's stream topic, I have kind of accepted that that's how it ought to be. That not being an adult might make things more difficult, but it's also going to allow me to be the version of me, my true form that I'm supposed to be, right? Free, free. That's the word that's been perpetuating. The masculine wants freedom, the feminine wants fullness, right? Love. And freedom can be death, unfortunately, for the masculine, right? And I don't want to die, but I'm letting a part of me die, right? I'm letting the part of me that is conceptually and perpetually intense die. And it is unfortunately also the part of me that's like super, and that part of me is still alive. I can still feel him in there somewhere, but he's asked to contemplate right now, at least, trying to find my bearings essentially. Like the way you read the end of that second and the tone, just my 2 cents. Thank you for sharing that art, friend. I feel lucky to have heard your perspective. Bless. Thank you, Lisa, for appreciating it with me. Load of God, Atlas level shit. Yeah, dude. Nice, very nice. Do you stream in your dreams, Mel? Sometimes. When I dream about streaming, it's usually some fractal of I'm at a festival and there's some whack shit happening at the festival, like either the dance floor music is off or like it's absolutely raining too much or there's like some sort of fighting happening, and then I'm like trying to balance time to make sure that I can get to you friends. Like that's usually how the dream streams, right, happen. I don't necessarily stream directly in my dreams though. Maybe I have, but I'm just not recalling right now. But last night I was at a festival again during my dream space, right? And noticing again that energy of feeling, how I go places, I do things based on feeling, and seeing from that perspective, how much I'll do, right? And again, I feel like this should also be said, as a part of this conscious evolution, that you might do things that you feel like doing, and that might not be the right thing to do as well, right? That in the same way, feeling like you don't want to do things could be the wrong thing to do. You could feel like you want to do things, and that might also be the wrong thing to do. So just like feeling into ourselves what that truth is. I don't remember poeming in my dreams. That's too powerful and chaotic. Also, I don't do poems. It's usually the lead up to, right? Like the preparation process. I have done yoga in my dreams that I have done, but not my direct streams. I love the perfect world too much now to offer any feedback. Bless, bro. You are appreciated, no matter what you choose to share. Melt won the fairy dust fight. That was an excellent poem. Bless. Thank you. I mean, I'll take what you friends say to me, and I'll make it a part of the fractal. Ah, fairy dust. I'm pretty sure they call PCP fairy dust as well. A fight me, Joy V. Fight me, joy. I have a shield of sorrow. You may tempt me today, but I'll mope tomorrow. No toy, no girl, no boy can give me any happiness. I shall drum darkness, no matter how light the subsistence. A poem about fighting joy. A good one, in fact. Very on the fly. I'm proud of you. Melt, have you ever been in therapy? Are you saying you feel too intense? We feel things more intensely at different ages. No, weirdly enough, the opposite right now for me. Right? I feel, even though I don't necessarily think it's the right word, but it's close enough to right. I feel apathetic. Right? I feel content, maybe is the positive fractal to apathetic. I feel content right now, Nancy. Very much so. And I feel like a part of the change that's coming as well, right? Because like I can conceptualize what's coming for us. And I've tried to share from a hopeful place what's coming for us. But there is still a part of me that was stressed, right? That was worried about how this fractal is going to turn out. And that part of me died this weekend. He's dead. He doesn't live anymore. He's gone, right? That part of me that worries isn't given the amount of room it used to occupy in my mind. And it came from this perspective of, again, just realizing that, one, I'm okay with dying, right? From a masculine perspective, dying sounds like fun, even, right? Not so much the actual act of dying, but the exploration of the unknown, right? The novel. I believe dying is going to be a cool experience, right? That being said, I do not want to die, right? From a feeling perspective, from a can I die? Yes. Yes, I can, right? It's one of the actions that I am privy to. But from a feeling perspective, I don't want to, right? And I'm trying to lead into that part of myself, realizing that if dying is inevitable, then no matter what the future holds, the worst case scenario for me is death. And I'm okay with it, right? So it's almost like I'm like bamboozling myself, the worrying part of myself, where I'm like, oh yeah, you want to worry? I don't care. I don't care if you worry, dude. It's not going to be that bad, right? No matter how bad it gets, it can get bad than the worst case scenario, and I'm okay with the worst case scenario. So it's like that, right? And that is pretty intense, I guess, right? And I know, just to answer your question as well, technically, I haven't been to therapy, at least not at this point in my life. I used to be in therapy as a teenager when I was viscerally depressed, because at that point, it was reversed, right? Where I didn't want to die, right? But I felt like dying, right? I felt like I was actively dying, and I was perpetuating that cycle in my own mind. And that was a significantly worse place to be than I feel I find myself right now. At least that's the perspective that I'm feeling. I can't compete with a shield of sorrow, though. This world is a veil of tears. Hedonism, joy, vive. The answer to all of the world's horseshit is ball to the wall hedonism. I don't know if it is, unfortunately. I feel hedonism has a place, right? Hedonism is essentially just indulgence, I believe. Let me make sure. Hey Google, define hedonism. Hey Google. Hey Google. I think I made Google angry. It's not listening at me. Hey Google. All of your friends Google might be listening to me right now, but mine isn't. It's like, nah, fam. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know you anymore. Hey Google. Now it's working. Define hedonism.
Here's the
Hedonism.
definition of hedonism: the pursuit of pleasure, sensual self indulgence.
Is it hedonism? Hedonism. I've been saying hedonism my entire life. I'm going to continue saying hedonism. You hedon, not you hedon. Like now I'm tripping out if I'm saying it correctly either. Okay, hedonism, the pursuit of pleasure or sensual self indulgence. Yeah, that is what I said, right? Indulgence. It's like extreme indulgence. I feel, again, balance, right? I think balance is necessary because if every single person in the world is living into hedonistic, ways of being, that's also not going to serve each other. Because if your only objective is to be hedonistically self-indulgent, that's also going to create a fractal of extreme selfishness, and then eventually the murder of one another so that we can stuff our own faces even harder. Mm, 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 mm. Dying is cool. Mel 2023. I agree. I'm ready to dive into that next round too. It's like it's like me almost feeling like I have one foot on that side of the fractal even. Cable. I've done some things that helped me experience a little bit more than maybe the traditional worldview will allow. And it's shown me that there's not only nothing to fear, but there's something to look forward to on the other side even, right? I mean, you can think about it just from the perspective of dreaming. The fact that you can go to sleep and suddenly be in a different world, with different capacities, different abilities, different laws of physics, essentially, right? Like just that alone. But it's more so this deep acceptance of whatever is going to happen, right? It's not like I want to die. In fact, I feel I would like to live for at least a few thousand years, right? And I know it's a little bit of a trip, right? A few thousand years, right? 5,000 would be ideal. But at the same time, it's like I'm no longer holding on to any fear. And I was thinking about this as well today, right? I was thinking about uh, yesterday, I was thinking about fear as a tool that people have used to get other people to do things, right? Where do so and so, or I'll kill you, or they do kill one of your village members, your family members, your friends in front of you as a means to generate fear in you so that you'll do the things that they want you to do, right? And I was tripping out about that as a ploy that humanity has been using so long, and thinking about how we can use love to get people to do things as well. And then seeing the discrepancy between how easy, right? Again, from this perspective of the easy path or the hard path. If the path to what you want is easy, it's probably the wrong path, right? It might be the easy path to use fear to coerce people into doing things. But that, by definition, makes it the wrong path to take. And then I was thinking about where fear comes from. And it took me to a place of pain where, like, the reason, like, for instance, our kitties are pretty skittish. If I drop something, or if I'm like hastily walking somewhere and they're like laying on the floor, they'll suddenly be up and at them, making sure they're not in the danger zone, essentially. And I was thinking to myself, they technically have no reason. Gary Lee, blessings to you, brother Bears. Nice having you. Thank you for adding even more mushrooms to the stream. They technically have no reason to be scared, right? We've never harmed them. We've never stepped on them. We've never given them any reason to be fearful. But they still feel pain, right? And the avoidance of pain, I think, leads us to fear. And one of the things that I've tried to do is get myself to understand that death isn't dangerous. It isn't painful necessarily, right? The way to dying might be painful, but that in and of itself isn't, right? So kind of like realizing the pain attachment I might have or other people might have to fear and my willingness to pursue pain. I also did cut a hole out of myself today. I don't know if your friends have been able to see that. I was cutting myself a pineapple and I eat it with the skin, and the skin is pretty tough. And when I got to the edge of the pineapple, it didn't cut the skin, it slid off, and then it cut like a whole little scoop out of my finger. I don't know if this is cursed information, but I ate the piece of myself that got scooped out of me. Cursed? I was like thinking about, is this cannibalism? Am I cannibalizing right now? But I was like, I'm gonna retake this energy. Thank you. My own body. And there was no fear in me, right? Like, sure, there was some pain. I put a plaster on it, but there was no fear. Like, I wasn't scared. I was, in fact, grateful that I only took a small little gap out of myself instead of cutting myself so deep that I'm cutting through major veins or, that I cut a tip of my finger off. Like, I was more grateful for the fact that I didn't cut more of myself off than angry or fearful or in pain, right? And that was like again a moment of like, huh, for myself. Surely, I don't know how long that lasts, right? Like as a spectrum, like cutting yourself with a knife on your finger might be like low threshold pain, and they can be gratitude for that. But like being in a car accident and you break a bunch of bones, but you don't die, right? Like how easy it is to get yourself, in on that spectrum. No, Joey B, stop posting puking emojis. It's not weird, yo. Have none of you ever like bitten a piece of skin off of the side of your finger or something? Come on. Surely it's not that weird. Brother Gary Lee, blessings to you again. I don't know if you're still here. I see Mojo joining us too. Define liminal. Liminal. Have you played Superliminal, Mojo? Hey Google, define liminal. Liminal.
Here's the definition of liminal.
Occupying
Occupying a
position at occupying a position at or on both sides of a boundary or threshold, relating to a transitional or initial stage of a process. Yeah, if your friends want to have your brains melted, play the game called Superliminal. You'll experience a state of reality that makes perfect sense and yet none at all. Like imagine looking in your environment and then lining up a certain place, and then you can take things out of your environment because you lined yourself up. Occupying a position at or on both sides of a boundary or threshold. Like good old liminisms. To die would be an awfully big adventure. Peter Pan, what a gangster. I mean, like technically he lives forever as a boy, right? Today's stream topic, got us there as well. I'm trying to not let things that I can't control take up too much space in my head. That's perfect. No, it's hedonism. Google said so. Hedonism. Hedonism. Within like a head. No, I can't believe it. It's both, bro. Chill. Death is the only adventure. Captain James Hook, even more. I've always said hedonism too. That Google lady is whack. Which is weird because if you ask Google for the pronunciation, it's the correct one. Maybe it's just the auto reading, like little voice thing. We exist between the spaces meld. We're liminal. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Like the way that I like to get people to that understanding is again with the dimensional like step back, right? Like we can kind of like ignore the first two dimensions because you understand the first two dimensions, right? A single point, a point that becomes a line, becomes a shape, has two dimensions. And then that shape being extruded into the third dimension becomes the third, right? So we occupy three-dimensional space. And that makes sense conceptually, right? Then there is the dimension of time. Is it the fourth dimension? I don't know. Is it a dimension? I believe so, right? And then alongside that, you can move this three-dimensional entity through space and time, and you can witness that moving of three-dimensional space through time. Meaning, at least in my mind, that we are existing in some sort of superliminal position, right? Or a superposition that exists outside of both space and time, right? Because if you were in space and time, you would not be able to witness it, right? In the same way, a two-dimensional, entity can only witness a two-dimensional slice of three-dimensional reality. We would not be able to experience reality if we were existing within it in the way we think we actually are. I'm trying to attach it to today's stream topic, feeling, right? Because again, in three-dimensional space, things are possible, but from that mind space, which might in part only exist in your neurons, but the part of you that's aware of that feeling can still call the shots. I'm tripping out about how three-dimensional space is manipulating hyperdimensional space, right? The fact that your actions, your choices, your words is not only influencing our world, but is literally influencing the spiritual realms as well. I mean, this is ancient knowledge, but it still is interesting to think about. I think that might be part of being neurodivergent and always feeling like a little outside whatever. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that having parents who are living in a way that stifles the creative spirit of their children can make the children feel like dying. Some stomp on it, some smother it. My dad believed that I was pretending to be depressed as a child. Right? Like that's the trauma that I'm still carrying, at least in some parts. That I was not only pretending, but I was pretending specifically to make him feel bad. That's what he said to me, and like been dealing with that as well. How we feel about things. It's one of those enigmas as well, right? Because one day you'll feel fantastic, and the next you just don't. Nothing technically changed, right? Maybe some things did change. Maybe things change that you feel are disproportional to the amount of feeling you have right now. In other words, you might be having a bad day conceptually, right? Maybe you woke up not having slept well. Maybe you got a message that perturbed you, and then you drop a glass, right? And then breaking that glass is the point that everything breaks down. You're just like, ah. Surely, breaking a glass, that action, that fractal, having to clean the little glass bits, it's not that big a deal, realistically. But it's the stacking of one thing on top of another, on top of another, that leads us to a deeper and deeper bad feeling. And then again, at least that's what I'm trying to do, consciously evolving my mind right now, realizing that there are things that I can do, even if I don't want to, that will make me feel better. One of the things that's helped, at least for me, is eating more protein, right? Like my body just feels a little bit more secure, I guess, right? And that security allows me to feel better about some things. I died before, you get used to it after a few times. Me too, Joshua. I don't know if I've gotten used to it necessarily, but I have come to accept it as an inevitability and not as a bad thing. We die and then we just wake back up. Exactly. Swampy, I am incapable of death. You just get used to it. Okay. Who else out here is nibbling on their sliced off bits? I mean, so like I feel like this is probably gonna make it worse, Joy Vive, but I'm gonna share it just because I see you cringing. I went after cutting a piece of myself off, right? Because what happened is I cut myself and then there was so much blood that my finger was covered in it. So I couldn't see the wound, right? So I go to the bathroom, I get myself some plasters, I rinse the wound, and I put the plaster on. And as I rinse the wound, I see that little divot in me, right? And I'm like, it seems like I made a clean cut right through myself. And there's a piece of me missing now. And I'm like, I guess that's fine. I'll heal. And I put the plaster on and I go back to cut my pineapple. And I pick the knife up and I see that piece of myself on the knife's blade. And then I ate it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking, I was like really contemplating. I was like, I could throw it away. But then I was thinking to myself, that feels sacrilegious. I don't want to throw a piece of myself away. Why would I do that? And then I was like, you know what? I will symbolically reabsorb myself so that I can utilize this energy to heal myself. So I did it. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Do it anyway. Didn't taste like anything, right? So I don't know if I developed a taste for it now, unfortunately. Uh, walking with a fear of physical expiration date will inevitably hinder your ability to enjoy your experiences. Agreed. Embracing this life fearlessly gives you the freedom that you will never regret earning. So agreed. If anyone, it would be weird if it was a piece of someone else's skin. Agreed. Right? Like if I had to see someone else cut themselves and there was a piece of their skin on the knife and then I had to go and be like, that would be too much, right? I would be like, yeah, this dude needs to be put in the gulag right now, right? Get him into a gulag ASAP. But the fact that it's me that I ate, I feel like it's okay. Oh my goodness, Shad. Stand and walk with the knowledge of the limit, the infinite cycle, and enjoy this chapter of your timeline. Agreed. Be here now, right? That's good old Ram Dass, I believe, as well. Ram Dass and Eckhart Tolle, I believe, were both very much into the now. Here you are for a reason. We are all just temporary fireflies gifted with eternal light. Shine brightly and fearlessly, my friends. This life is too much fun to be worried about, to worry about our next one. Agreed. Awareness of impermanence brought a deeper appreciation of life for me. Need to go into lurk mode for a bit. We love you, Nancy. Sending you blessings. It's a big old melting pot of recycled soul stories and memories poured into a single body that you can now get to play with. Eventually, you'll get a new skin and have new lenses to witness with. Completely agree. We throw pieces of ourselves away all the time, like when we cut nails or we trim our hair or poop. Yeah, that's also true. That's true. I do throw my nails away. I'm saying poop is throwing away pieces of ourselves. I mean, yes, technically. I get that. Right? I do. I do. Like for me it was just like life force, right? Like I knew that there were still cells in that part of myself. Like they were me cells. I guess the nails thing makes sense. I don't eat my own hair. Also makes sense. I'm not gonna start justifying, right? If I had to go back and undo me eating piece of myself, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I feel like now a part of my consciousness is being powered by my own flesh. So maybe I'm becoming more powerful. Right? Is that cannibalism? Hey Google, is it cannibalism if you eat a piece of yourself? Self cannibalism. Oh goodness. I shouldn't be diving into this fractal. I'm getting put on a list right now. Cannibalism is defined as the consumption of another human's body matter, whether consensual or not. Oh goodness, what the fuck? That people are consenting to being eaten? In the United States, there are no laws. There are no laws against cannibalism per se, but most, if not all, states have enacted laws that indirectly make it impossible to legally obtain and consume the body matter. You friends live in America. It's not illegal to eat people. I feel like that's the real takeaway from the stream for me today. You can legally eat people if they consent. What the hell? But it's probably murder is still illegal, right? So even if someone consents to being eaten, that's still illegal, technically. This is stripping me out. I'm gonna stop. Oh God, no self cannibalism. Yeah, no, I don't think I self cannibalized. Right? Like I feel like if I was intentionally harming myself to eat pieces of myself, that would be a whole other level of concerning. But that was fortunately not the case. Guess we'll just. The fuck is this conversation? I'm also trying to escape, Sam. I'm like trying to get above water right now. I'm like trading water, having a hard time escaping. Oh, okay. Okay. Want and feeling, right? The stuff we do, right? Part of me wanted to eat that part of myself. So I did, right? And I could. That's something that I could do. And then I did because I wanted to. I felt like it. Lots of things aren't illegal, but they are cultural taboos. Yeah, it's true. It's a cultural taboo to get tattoos in I wouldn't call it my society. My community, not necessarily my town, right? Getting tattoos is not exactly okay, and still, right? I've wanted to do that as well. Let's pull a card, shall we? Let's see. What does sacred geometry have to say? Are you friends ready to pull a card? Let's see. Sap. Oh, your confusion cracks me up. Let's see. Let's see. What are we gonna see today? This one. Hmm. Yeah, I feel I do need some guidance right now. Some guidance, some being guarded. We got some owl energy today. Upside down, owl guardian. His hands holding the moon. There's a beautiful owl dude. There's a sun rising behind the clouds. There are remote towns and villages in the mountains here that are rumored to be full of cannibals. Missing people reports date back to the Civil War, and there have been many bone piles found. Ugh, that's big yikes. That's such big yikes. I think I saw. Oh no, cooked human bones. No, please, don't eat people, yo. There's other things to eat on Earth. Like, have you tried vegetables? Eat vegetables, dude. Please, tons of reports. No, stop. No, stop it, dude. Owl guardian, guard me, owls, please. I don't want to get eaten. I'm okay with dying, but getting eaten, I don't know. Feels a little bit sacrilegious. Makes me think about Bakihana. Is this over the top anime? I wouldn't recommend you watch it. It's too much. But we were talking about this, anime this weekend, me and the homies, and this fractal came up of them bringing back a prehistoric human being, like the beast or something he was called. He was frozen in ice, and then they revived him in this world. And in his mind, if he doesn't respect you, he won't fight you. And if he does respect you, he'll get up and kick your ass. And then the second layer of respect is after he kicks your ass and kills you, he eats you. Right. So a part of me wants to be like, oh, yes, I am honored to be eaten by this warrior. But at the same time, I feel like I would be more bummed with myself if I get myself eaten by something else. I'd be like, come on, bro. Come on. Tons of reports. The hills have eyes, Joy. It's not just a scary story. Oh no. No, actually getting eaten, right? That doesn't sound like a good vibe. Please, owl guardians, guard us. Keep us from the cannibals. The important context here is that Joe is from Florida. Freaking Florida men will eat you. Oh, okay. Card 15. Uh, anything goes south of the Tensei. That's a crazy amount of evidence that points to feral groups of isolated humans inside the borders of the continental states. It's just pretty crazy. Yeah, I guess we know where not to go, right? The circle of life. I don't want to get circle of life, bro. Not yet. Guidance, insight, and intuition. I did pull it upside down first. So the upside down meaning goes as such. I feel like a part of me resonates with the upside down meaning. I'm not saying it's a projection, but it might be an iteration on what we've been talking about today. Oopsie doopsie. It goes, the guidance of the owl is that you are not listening to your higher self. She suggests that you reestablish your connection before you wander too far from your sacred center. Right? That part of us that wants to, feels like doing things, and the part of us that knows what needs to be done. Getting closer to that center. It is hard. We are just animals after all, this is true. Guidance, insight, and intuition. Owls are shamans. Nope. Owls are shamanic and guardian symbols for many cultures around our planet. In Hawaii, the owl is one of the important family protectors and ancestral guardians known as the Amuakua. The tetrahedral diamond geometry of this card acts as a mirror of the many faces of your consciousness. The message the owl brings is one of guidance from the intuitive part of your being. Synchronicity and insight are likely indicators at this moment in your life. This is an excellent time to practice meditation and other techniques for connecting with your higher self. One fun and simple method is to try a bit of automatic writing. A great time to do this is first thing in the morning when you are fresh from dream time. However, any time will do. Clear your mind and start with the intention to connect with your higher self. Write without consciously thinking for as long as it feels right. A paragraph or two is plenty. You may be surprised at the wisdom that comes from your higher self. Cultivate a genuine connection. Cultivating a genuine connection is not difficult, and appreciating the wisdom that dwells within you may aid in your ability to listen more closely to the insights and intuitions. I think I missed a bit. May aid in your ability to trust yourself, view the many facets reflected within, and allow yourself to listen more closely to the insights and intuitions that are at all times available. I'm trying to think, is the part of us that feels like I don't want to, is that insight or wisdom? Sometimes is the closest to an answer I can come to. I'd eat you last is more of a compliment. No, if someone told me they'll eat me last, I would be offended. I'm like, bro, what's wrong with me? Oh, don't I look juicy? Don't I look appetizing? Eat me first. Oh, no, no, no. I did you first. There. Eat you last. It's more of a compliment. I like how Joe Schmo is also on the same fractal as me. When Cthulhu returns, he plans to eat his followers first. That's even more brutal. Oh, yeah, maybe. They tasted good is probably the best compliment. The floaty giant sky's good. Okay, I think the chat is officially derailed. We're talking about Cthulhu right now, so that's how you know when the topic goes into Cthulhu, the realm of Cthulhu. There's a whole Disney animated show about the Cthulhu right now. No Kraken, technically not the same creature, I guess. All right, there be Krakens, yo. At the Kraken of Dawns. Okay. I see an upward pointing arrow in my mind's eye. No, it's okay, Brother Bear. This stream is made for that, right? The way in which we get derailed is sometimes very feeling based. Unfortunately, we get to surf those feelings, without any judgment. Let me bring you friends to the kalimba, and then we'll play. There we go. I feel like again, even with the way we're playing the kalimba the last few days, it's like I have more room. Or like last 2 days, it's like I'm a little bit more calm. I'm noticing it in the way that I choose to play as well. I'm going to set the unspoken standard. We must apologize for doing so, and I will not. No, like there's no need to apologize. Again, there's absolutely no need to apologize. I feel like if it wasn't for the derailments that happen in the stream, sometimes we wouldn't be able to get to the cool places we find ourselves in. It just, I guess, is a matter of want, right? Feeling, I guess. Missed 11:11. We both did. I was playing in the middle of it, so it's fine. Not the squirrels. It's happening right now. I think it's still missing. I started talking about the infinite soul, and then you guys messed it all up. Talking about cannibalism. I mean, I technically started the derailment, right? To be completely transparent. Melty, thank you. It's cool. And the breeze here with a light rain and gray sky. The temperature has dropped significantly from yesterday. and everything feels and smells so fresh today. Kalimba was a great addition. Stop sniffing Hamagaya. Hamagaya smells amazing. Don't tell me what to do, Jamie. It's always eternally 11:11 in our hearts, manifesting a better world for us all. Let's wait for our Shan message, and then we'll say goodbye for today. I deeply appreciate you friends choosing to join me. It means more than I can say. There it goes. Let me give a moment so that the second one can be posted as well. I wonder, you think Shan super fast writes out the second one as well? Or do you think she has like both of them and then she posts them individually? All right, that's what I think. Like she has like the whole thing and then she posts them in like two chunks. There they are. Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I, for really, really, love you all so, so, very super duper, hugely, massively, immensely, humongously, astronomically, galactically, dearly, melt, and all of you, oh so, very wonderfully, fantastically, marvelously, miraculously, splendidly, sensationally, intoxicatingly, stunningly, gorgeously, brightly, remarkably, magically, magical, powerful, divine friends. As we love you, dear Shan. It's a mystery. We'll guess we'll have to wonder, right? Contemplate deeply, search our souls for how Shan sends her messages. You make my heart smile daily. That she does. As do you, Joshmo. Thank you, friends, deeply for joining me again, for consciously evolving alongside me, for paying attention to this part of us that feels, right, like it doesn't want to do anything, and giving that place of ourselves honor as well, consciously evolving past it. It's a mystery. I think I got it. Thank you. I don't want to know how the Shan messages work, and you never will. It will forever be an enigma, a mystery to all of our minds. I love you, friends, so much. Thank you for blessing me with your presence, for finding yourself here again. Until we do it tomorrow. You friends really do mean a lot to me, more than you know, as you do to us, dear Shan. Thank you for keeping your mind stable in this moment, for showing up, even if you might not feel like it in this moment. It means more than I can say. Love to all of you. Mojo, Enjoy Vive, and Lowazana and Shannon, Sam, Duck Dad, Joshmo, and Shell. I don't know if there's any more friends joining us watching right now that I haven't said their names. So you, thank you. Yes, specifically you. Like me? Yes. You. Love you. And we'll do this again soon. Goodbye, dear friends. Until I see you again. Love you.